What's going on, everybody? What is going on? I should be live now. I hope. Everything should be good. Everything should be good. So now we're going to be waiting. We got 4 people in here now, so we are good to go. As long as the audio is working. So let me know. Make sure everything's going good. Gonna do a little live stream hanging out for you guys here today. Alright. Let's see. Anybody comment? Okay, we got 19 people in here now. What's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing? What's up, Fort Minor? What's up, John Nealon? What's up, Semper Fidelis, man? Ryan, Benjamin, Riley Park. What is going on? Rockin' and Rollin', Eldon Smith, Run 12. Let's see how long I can keep doing this. Quentin, Soviet Guy, Trek, Michelle, Diego, Jack, Angelica, Benjamin's there again. Ben, Bahurns, Alex, your boy Jacob, Jerky Table, Steve, all you guys. What is going on? Basically the chat went up too high to where I couldn't read it anymore. Hope you guys are all doing good. Hope everybody's having a great Mother's Day. My mother also actually had her birthday yesterday, so she's got like that duo combo thing. My birthday's in 2 days. Crazy. Turning 27. Absolutely insane. Getting super close to 30. It is scary. I'm seeing memes all over the place saying, 90s kids with like something right around the corner, like the 30s. Like I'm almost freaking 30. Anyways, yeah, it's right around the corner. Trek, did you ever get to use the M249? Yes, I've used that a lot. So the answer is yes. We shot the 249 and the 240 Bravo at basic training. I know not everybody at basic training right now gets to shoot the 240 Bravo at basic training. If you are an infantry soldier, then I'm sure you're going to be fine and you're going to get to shoot that. But if you're not infantry, you may not actually get to shoot the 240 Bravo, but you should end up shooting at least the 249, which is the SAW. Alina, happy Melissa Miller, happy Mother's Day to your wife. Yes, she is pregnant. Like we're 8 weeks away. And then also somebody else, Alina said, Matt, I just graduated from AIT. Congratulations, that is freaking awesome. Stanley Thomas, I have a military question. Go ahead and shoot. Let's go ahead and start going through some stuff. Andrew, what is going on? Hey, Matt, it's been a while. School and work has been crazy. How's everything going? Andrew, everything has been fantastic. To catch you up to speed, like I just said, I'm turning 27 in 2 days. My wife is pregnant, and she's due in 8 weeks on July 4th. And we're also hopefully going to be buying a house at the end of this year. Fingers crossed. I'm kind of hoping that the market kind of keeps going down. I'm kind of trying to keep tabs on things right now. So it'll really just depend on how things go. But my lease is up in November. So unless I were to go month to month or renew or something like that, then we're going to end up getting a house. So that's awesome. There was a question about ROTC that I wanted to answer. Let me see if I can find it again. I'm sorry if you asked a question about ROTC and I missed it. Let's see. Real quickly, Joe, where are you at in your military career? I am a first lieutenant now. So that is that. I'm the S6. And as far as where I'm at in my military career, I'm kind of progressed a little bit. I started out as an E3, since been commissioned as an officer. So my officer career is pretty fresh, pretty new. I got a long ways to go in my military career, that's for sure. I guess I've been in for 5 years, so I can retire in 15 more years, which is kind of crazy to think about. I missed the question. Thoughts on China and India standoff today? I'm not sure what's going on. Ever since all the corona stuff going on, the news has just been annoying to me. I usually keep up on it, and I've watched probably less news stuff than I normally do, just because it's all just like bad at deciding. That's a great name with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Question, I'm currently serving in the Army National Guard, and I have a friend of mine that graduated from basic with me that wants to go guard. Can they switch during their contract? Love your vids. Thank you. I appreciate it. And if you are active duty, if that's what you're talking about, so if your friend that you went to basic training with, if they are active duty, no, they cannot in the middle of their contract switch to the National Guard. Now, if everybody has that like IRR portion of their contract and stuff, but like once their active portion of their contract has been fulfilled, they could then switch to National Guard if they wanted to, but you can't switch off of active duty if you're active duty. But if you are in the National Guard or the Army Reserves, you can switch to active duty if you want to, or you could go AGR. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like one of those things where you can go one way, but you can't go the other way. You can switch to active duty, but you can't switch off of active duty. Ryan131. Hey, I was born with a heart murmur and I had surgery when I was 3 to get it fixed, and I live a normal life. Will it affect me from enlisting? I would assume if it's been fixed, and especially since it was at such a young age, you would be fine. Although that is going to be one of those major things that I would disclose to your recruiter. Just go through the paperwork. Just go ahead and get that over with. Because a lot of times people will have something like that where, in my opinion, I think you should be fine going through MEPS and everything. But because they don't disclose that, they're just so worried and they're just like, stressing so much at MEPS, because at MEPS they're threatened to freaking throw you in jail and stuff for lying on your contract and stuff for like fraudulent enlistment and all this. So just make sure you just go ahead and disclose everything and you'll be fine. Don't disclose, like I said, like if you had some minor issue or something in like a sports thing whenever you were a kid and you never went to a doctor for it, then I think you'll be fine. If you didn't go to a doctor for it, you're okay. Would you advise talking to multiple recruiters for the same branch to see which one would be the most helpful? The answer is no, but yes at the same time. So if you're just if your first recruiter is being fine, he's replying to your texts, he's replying to your calls, he's giving you the information that you need, then no, you don't have to go and see another recruiter. But I've had a lot of people tell me situations and stories where they have a recruiter who doesn't reply to their phone calls, doesn't reply to their texts. He's not really telling them, information in a timely manner. He's pushing them to do things that they don't want to do. In those cases, then yeah, I would just switch to a different recruiter and just not have to deal with that anyone anymore. If you want like different recruiters and different military personnel's, experiences and thoughts and comments and stuff like that, you can always talk to your recruiter and say, hey, do you know anybody that has experience with so-and-so MOS, whatever job or something? And they might reach out to some of their buddies. Maybe somebody in that office specifically will have some experience and they can then talk to you. But I wouldn't if one recruiter is doing fine and he's doing his job and he's doing it well, I don't see the need to go and talk to another recruiter. But if you have a recruiter who's just sucking, then yeah, I would switch to a different one. Can you do reserves and ROTC at the same time? Yes, it's called the SMP program, the Simultaneous Membership Program. Gosh, I just missed a question. I hate it when that happens. Andrew, how would you say social distancing from family compares with being away from them while at boot camp? I think it is a huge difference. So that's a good question though. One huge thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is you might be like, oh, I went off to college, I was on my own, whatever. I think that is still really different than being at basic training and being separated. Even though you might be separated for the same distance as you might have been separated from your family members before. But the difference, and I think the key difference here, is number one, you're kind of just secluded and separated from the rest of society, normal society. You're in a whole nother world, okay? And then also on top of that, like if you go off to college, you still have the option, if you want to to call your parents if you want to. You still have the option to go and see your parents and your family if you want to. When you're at basic training, those options, that is your freedom to choose whether you want to see your family, whether you don't want to see your family, those are taken away from you. You can't call them whenever you want to call them. You can't go on Facebook and see what they're doing. You have been removed completely from all of that. And that makes it more of a difficult situation than, I went to college and I've only seen my family members on holidays or something like that. Odds are you're probably still on Facebook. You're still looking at what they're doing on a daily basis. You're still looking at what they're doing on Instagram or something like that. Even if you don't physically see them or talk to them on the phone. But at basic, you're not doing that. You're not looking at what they're doing all the time. You're kind of like needing your family's updates. You really want like those letters from your family, and like, oh my gosh, like you get those letters and you're like, crap, like so much has happened in like the 4 weeks that I've been gone or something. It's crazy how it'll feel like so much has happened whenever you're gone. But anyways, I think that's the big difference. Then right now, technically, if you want to, you can still go see your family. If you want to, you can still get on social media and all that stuff. So that's a big difference for me. I've missed a whole bunch of messages, but iPeppy just did a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Hey, Matt, do you have any info or advice about joining the National Guard or Army Reserves to apply to West Point? So you're talking about so let me read this again. Do you have any info on advice about joining the National Guard or Army Reserves to apply to West Point? So if you're talking about joining the Reserves or the Guard to give you a better chance of applying to West Point and going to West Point, because you're not gonna, it'll definitely give you a better opportunity of getting accepted into West Point if you did do the National Guard or the Army Reserves or something, and you did that. I think that would give you a better chance. But honestly, I don't know how West Point, and they're all recruiting criteria and all that stuff. But as far as your enlistment, there's no like West Point contract thing that you can do. That's a whole separate thing. West Point is a very elite club. It's an elite school to go to. It's not easy to get into. You can't just do it just because you want to do it. So you'll have to make sure that your grades and stuff. So if you didn't have really good grades, or it would be beneficial to have done ROTC in high school. If you haven't done any of that, you don't have to have good grades, all that stuff, then it may just be more difficult to just get into West Point in general. And if not, you might not just be able to do it. However, just so y'all know, there are other good military academy schools out there. There's not just West Point. West Point is just the top of the line kind of thing, but there are other ones that you can actually go to. So keep that in mind. But I don't know of any specific correlation, I guess, to your question. Mari, are there ways to get paid more in the military? The answer is yes. So there's all kinds. So if you go on Google right now and you look up Army base or Army pay, what it's going to do is it's going to show you a chart based on your years of service and your rank and how much your base pay is. Okay, that's just your base pay. That doesn't include a whole bunch of different things. So let's say you have a family, you're going to get paid more per basically individual in your family. And so that's going to be a way you can get paid more. If you're married, you're going to get paid more because you have your wife. If you have kids, you're going to get paid more because you have kids. If you leave for training or something like the Reserves or Guard, or even if you're active duty, your housing is paid for. So that's an additional pay. Like you get free housing. Or if you go on some training somewhere and you get your additional BAH, your basic allowance for housing, then that's an additional pay. You can also get paid more if you know critical, important languages. My unit, I always talk about this because it's kind of crazy. Some people are like, oh, I know Spanish. That's probably not that important. You probably have to know like Arabic or some kind of crazy thing, or like Chinese or something that's difficult. Well, it really just depends on your unit, because my unit, you get paid more if you are fluent in Spanish. Nothing crazy. I mean, half the people in my unit can speak Spanish. The only thing with that is you have to be able to pass the tests to be fluent reading and writing and all that stuff and be able to speak it fluently. You can't just be fluent at speaking it and not be able to be fluent at reading and writing it, if that makes sense. So that's a really good way. And that's like an extra, like, depending on the level, like $500 a month for just freaking knowing the language. Whether you use it or not, if you qualify for it and you pass that test, that's a lot of money. Also, that's regardless of active duty or reserve. So if you're a reservist and you qualify for that, you still get paid that extra amount, which is crazy. And then there's little bits like if you are deployed in certain areas, you're going to get tax-free money. So your pay is going to be tax-free. You could also get hazardous duty pay. There's a whole bunch of other miscellaneous little things that could give you like $100 a month here or there. Anyways, we got a $10 super chat. Let me look at Brittany. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Do you know what the process is of becoming an Army medical surgeon as an officer? I don't know the process. If you're talking about getting directly commissioned, I'm not sure if that is what you're talking about or not, or if you're talking about joining as an officer in the medical field and med services and then trying to go that route. But no, I don't know the specifics on that. Joining as, and if you get your doctorates and then you join, that's also kind of like a whole nother ballgame that I haven't had that much experience with. It's definitely possible. I think you can ultimately join as like an 05, I think is the highest that you can do, which, I mean, you have to have some crazy credentials. But yeah, medical personnel, dentists, chaplains, pastors, stuff like that end up joining at doing a direct commission all the time. Oh my goodness. Taylor Jen with the $10 super chat. Y'all are killing it today. Good Lord. Thank you. Married with 2 kids. I'm 29, NREMT certified. Oh, okay. Would you recommend active duty 68 whiskey for someone in my situation? Thank you. So Taylor, I don't recommend a lot of things because even just with that, it's hard for me to get the full bigger picture. I don't think the 2 kids thing is a big deal. I think for you with the active duty, kind of look at where you are located. I'm not sure if you live anywhere around Texas, but around the San Antonio area, being around San Antonio is probably a pretty good chance of being around there for a good period of time. So you could take that into consideration, how close you're going to be to your kids when you're training, because the odds are, actually, I believe you're definitely going to go to San Antonio, whether that's Fort Sam Houston or Camp Bullis. I think Camp Bullis, they train there too. So keep that in mind. I think the kids is a good thing that you're considering them, but also I think you got to remember active duty, unless you're deployed, you're going to take your kids with you, and it's kind of going to be like your normal day-to-day job, except it's just like military-wise, okay? So just keep that in mind. So would I recommend it? If you're okay with that initial separation period and you're okay with being deployed every now and again, then yes. And then also to what that previous question was, is you get paid extra when you're at your basic training or your EIT for those 2 kids, which is nice. Can you use the VA loan coming out of training? It depends on if you're active. Drayvon Waters, by the way, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. But it depends on if you're active reserves or active duty. If you're active duty, you have to have served like at least 180 days, I think, of wartime service. So if your basic and AIT has been longer than that, then yes, I believe it includes that training time. It may not actually include the AIT. I could probably Google that real quick, but you could probably Google it too. But I believe it does. But if not, I know it's 188 days. I'm not sure if it includes your basic and AIT training time or not. If you're a reservist or a National Guard, you have to do 6 years, not 60 years. 6 years. 6 qualified years, by the way. Unless you were deployed, then you're going to get more than likely that 180 days of non-wartime active service, and then you can then apply for that VA loan. So, Angelica, I earned my associate's degree in September. I'm hoping to get into the military, specifically the Army, shortly after. Using this time to get in shape, do you have any advice? I want to do 68 whiskey. So kind of like the same thing, general advice. You're doing great to be staying in shape. You got your 2-year degree, so that's awesome. That's going to give you some extra rank and stuff whenever you are enlisting. So make sure you should, if with a 2-year degree, you should be getting E3. So if for some reason you don't get E3 upon enlistment, then something is wrong. So keep that in mind, okay? But 68 whiskey, again, if you don't have any medical experience, it's definitely one of those MOSs that is going to be difficult for you to do. So make sure you do some kind of like pre-training, pre-studying before you actually go to AIT or before you even go to basic training, because you're not going to be studying for it at basic training. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Was I ever interested in Rangers or Special Forces? Yes, the answer is yes. When I was 18, might have been 19 at the time, but I did actually have an 18 X-ray contract, decided not to do it. Looking back, I wish I would have done it, but I didn't do it. But whatever, you can't change what you did when you were 18 or 19. And then Rangers, I still want to go to Ranger School. Still trying to go to Ranger School right now, but it's all going to be a work in progress. Being in the reserves, it's going to be a long shot to go to Ranger School, but I do really, really, really want to go. I'm hoping to apply to go to Airborne School this spring, so hopefully that's actually going to get approved. How long is AIT for combat engineer? I'm not sure. Again, that's one of those things. If you look up that MOS, usually that should come up like really quickly if you Google that exact question. So Space Forces chaplains should be called Jedi. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. You think 7 years is enough for me to get ready? Yeah, I think 7 years is enough. I'm not sure if you're saying that you're super young right now or you're just waiting 7 years or something. But yeah, 7 years is plenty of time. How do reservists get the DD-214 equivalent? I'm heading to Fort Leonard Wood at the end of the month, but I was looking at some of the online discount places as I'm sitting around doing nothing. So, not sure. Okay, so if you didn't know, like I have a DD-214. I've got one. But it's like, okay, well, why in the world and how are you still actually in the military? A DD-214 is just a release from active duty. So if you're a reservist or in the National Guard, anytime that you get put on active duty status, you're going to get a DD-214 when you come off of active duty status. So I've actually got 2 DD-214s. So a little fun fact there. So the DD-214 equivalent for reservists and National Guard is the same thing. It's a DD-214. If you get, once your contract is over, I think honestly for reservists, I've never gone through the process of getting out of the reserves. It's more like you're just done. Pretty much. It's like you just don't come back to drill one day. You're done. Honestly, I don't really know the whole process. You're going to see some kind of retention officer, retention NCO or something. But I've never done that. So, I don't know. Could be wrong. Could be right. I don't know. Hello, Matt. I got around 1 year left of college. Should I wait to get to have a degree and join the Army as an officer? I'm thinking 17 Alpha or 25 Alpha. 25 Alpha is awesome. 17 Alpha, also awesome. So 17 Alpha, make sure you got some kind of programming experience. I'm not sure what your degree and stuff is. But yeah, if you have 1 year left, then yeah, I would suggest just doing the OCS route. Because if you do ROTC, there's no faster track for you than the 2-year track. So it's going to be 2 years. So OCS for you, you wait a year, you get your degree, then you do OCS, and then bada bing, bada boom, you get through OCS and basic training. So 22 weeks later, you're going to be an officer. You're going to be good to go. And then you're going to be off to Bullock. You're going to be going to your training for Signal Bullock or Cyber Bullock. Both of them are going to be at the same place at Fort Gordon, which I think is a great post in and of itself. But yeah, I think that's what you should do is OCS and 17 alpha or 25 alpha. 17 alpha if you like software development, if you're a programmer. If you're in the computer science field, I would suggest that 17 alpha route. Plus, if you guys didn't know, when you have like new branches of the military, I mean like Space Force, for example, like if anybody switches to Space Force right now, they are going to get promoted very quickly. If you're in the 17 series, so if you're in the cyber series, the cyber branch of the Army, you're going to get promoted quickly because they have a whole bunch of space to fill up top as far as leadership goes. So if you can do 17 alpha, that would be really cool. Just keep in mind, if you want to have any kind of combat deployment or anything like that, that's not going to happen as 17 alpha. So you can still, I believe they did add cyber officer or cyber into the Ranger list of Ranger MOSs. Let me look that up. Army Ranger. See, you guys can just Google all this stuff. Army Ranger MOS list. Become an Army Ranger. 17. They don't have 17 alpha here. They have 17 Charlie and 17 Echo. So they don't have 17 alpha for the officer side of things. So they'll probably add it eventually, I'm guessing. Maybe. Oh, never mind. They do have it. If you look on the Ranger website, they have the enlisted and then the officer down at the bottom. 17 alpha is a Ranger MOS. So if you wanted to go into the 75th Ranger Regiment, you could do it. But I'm not sure how the combat's going to look for that. So also, another thing to point out for cyber is not like the rest of the Army. You're not going to if you want to become a cyber officer, you're not going to get your own platoon and things like that. Like, you're going to work with like a very small team, and you're just going to have your team, and then that's going to be it. You're not going to have to deal with a lot of things that the normal structure of the Army where other people have to deal with. The Predator 316 Warzone today. I may play Call of Duty. It's almost 7:30 where I'm at. I'm about to go eat. I'm making my own pizza and stuff today. But I definitely want to live stream a game of Call of Duty this week. Terrafat Chenner. Gosh, I cannot pronounce that last name. That is insane. But with the 199 super chat, thank you so much. Any advice for Civil Affairs 38 Bravo selection? So this may surprise some people, right? So the way it works for me. So if you didn't know, I'm in a Civil Affairs unit, and it's so different. It's still taking me my time to wrap my head around how everything in the Civil Affairs works. So that's why, like, I haven't done any videos or anything on Civil Affairs. I do want to do videos with some of the officers that are there that are actually CA qualified, because Civil Affairs is just crazy different. So as far as advice for the selection, I don't really have any specific advice for you, because I'm not sure how all of that works, because my job isn't related to Civil Affairs at all. So with me being the S6 OIC, I don't deal directly with the Civil Affairs teams. I mean, we have the other staff shops where some of the officers are Civil Affairs officers, but I don't necessarily know how the selection process and everything works. I just know it takes a long freaking time to get qualified. But it's a cool job, for sure. So, I'm sorry for that disappointing answer. Have I played any MilSims games like Arma 3? No. They have this one game that they actually train some of us on, and I think it's like a part of, if we do annual training at home for my unit, I can't remember the name of the game, but the military, the Army, probably the Marines too, but the Army and probably the Marines actually, and in some cases, do use video games, these military simulation games, to train. And we did that. Late last year. We had all of us kind of in a room on our computers and going through some trainings and stuff like that. It was kind of fun. Nice channel icon, dark matter. Yeah, so I changed the channel icon. That's actually a picture thing that I've had for a long time. I was going to change it. I just never changed it. I'm not sure why I did, but I finally have done that. Does JROTC help you preparing for the military? I think yes. I've actually got a brother, or a brother. Yes, I have I have a lot of brothers. But I have a video with my brother. I believe I did this one. I've done so many videos about the Army that I forget which ones I've done. But I think I've done one where we talked about if JROTC helps you prepare for the Army. But if I haven't, then I'm sorry. That's one that we might have had planning in the works and we just haven't gotten around to it yet. But yes, I do think it helps you kind of get your mindset right a little bit. It kind of helps you with the customs and courtesies, which I think is actually really important. And then it'll help you with understanding the rank structure, especially if you do JROTC. That is the same branch. So if you do Army JROTC and you join the Army, that's great. If you do Air Force JROTC and join the Air Force, that's great. If you join Air Force JROTC and then you go and join the Army, it's a different branch. Some things are going to kind of go together, but some things won't. Like the drill and ceremony are going to be different. The rank structure is going to be different, but ultimately the military camaraderie, the military environment that you're around is going to be, kind of somewhat similar. Okay. What things do you need to know before boot camp? Moise Madimba Ba. That is a fantastic question, and I've got a lot of videos on it. So I literally have a series that you should watch. I mean, because I can answer a bunch of things right now, but there's a lot of things that I honestly think that you should know. And if you watch my video on like things you must watch before basic training, it's not a video, it's a playlist. Go on there. There's a good bit of videos. There's about 20 videos or so. And I definitely think, like, if you guys are going to basic training and you haven't gone through that playlist on things you must watch before basic training, definitely do that, right? So that is going to be it for this little quick 30-minute live stream. I'm about to go make some pizza and I'm about to go eat. I got a very informative... What is that sound going on there? I got a very informative video for you guys coming up this week, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Thank you again all for coming out. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all just the amazing awesomeness. We're getting really close to 200,000 subscribers, if you didn't know. Kind of crazy. So anyways, that's it. Hope you all have a great Mother's Day, great night, and I'll see y'all later.